What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's time for episode 19 of Guardians franchise. We are here in early June, and it's earlier than I wanted to be at by the time I came in for episode 19, which I'm just going to level with y'all. It's bad. It's bad that I'm jumping in early. I don't ever jump in early for good reasons. I usually jump in early for one major reason: injury. And in this case, it's injuries because we are getting blasted with them. It has been a rough end of May into June. Let's get into it. Let's take it back to April 23rd, which is where we left off. We had this off day here going into a series against Jacksonville. We lost that one, but then beat Chicago to end the month. So we cap off the month of April, and we were 15-8. Not bad. And I want to be clear, things have been going well since then too. 17-11 in May, and actually 4-0 so far in June. However, the foundation is a little rocky because the injuries that I mentioned. So I'll give you a little snapshot there of May. You can see lose the series against Boston and Tampa Bay to open the month, but then beat Chicago 2 out of 3, dropped 2 out of 3 against KC, including a doubleheader, which we lost both of, which sucked, but then sweep Oakland, take care of Charlotte, sweep the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, split 2 of 4 with Baltimore at home, which was nice, especially because we lost the first 2 by 1 run, and then come back to win 5-2 and 7-6 in 10. What a series. And then we take 2 out of 3 against Miami heading into June, where we sweep Cincinnati, and so far we've won a game here in Philadelphia. So add it all up, it's 36-19. Not too much to be upset about, right? That's pretty excellent. That's a fantastic record that leads our division and the American League and is second in all of baseball behind only the Dodgers. So that's the good, all right? That's something that we can be happy about. So this isn't going to be a doom and gloom episode, but things have gotten shaky. So let's go ahead and get into it. First things first, Clase had a strained oblique that was day-to-day for about 4 weeks. I ended up ILing him. He's already back. So that's already come and gone full circle by now. He's already fully back. When did that injury happen? That happened May 4th. So he basically missed the month of May. No big deal. We got through that. Okay. Right around that time, early May, I actually flirted with a deal. And it was with a ball club that's doing quite well themselves, the Minnesota Twins. I didn't commence that deal, but more on that later. I'll just let you know, just for the timeline's sake. So about a month ago game time, maybe a little bit deeper. It's listed after the Class A injury, but I think it came about a week or so later into the game. But either way, not that long ago I was flirting with that. I was like, okay, maybe another time. So then we keep going. That's when we split the 4. Shortly after that, we split the 4 against Baltimore to end May. Then we get Andres Gimenez, fractured foot, 3 weeks. Okay, that stinks, but it's 3 weeks. That's certainly not the end of the world. He's having another fantastic season with 2 wins already and 40 games of work, a 133 WRC plus with good defense and base running. Definitely a major cog to this ball club. Only has 2 weeks left. It's a fractured foot. It's not going to be the end of the world. That one does not freak me out. Okay, cool. We can live with that. Boom. Shortly thereafter, game time, probably few days? Yes. So the Jimenez injury was 5/27, May 27th. June 2nd. So what is that? 5-6 days later, Jose Ramirez. Severe hip strain, 6 weeks. And it said 6 to 7 weeks originally. He has served one of the weeks. The fact that they called it severe also worries me going forward. He's 33 years old, going to be 34 later this year. Getting up there in age, a severe injury, I am worried that this is going to hamper him beyond just the tenure of this injury. I hope not. I want to desperately be wrong on that, but I am a little bit nervous here. So 6 to 7 weeks. Okay, but we can survive that, right? Because we didn't even have Gabriel Arias starting, and he's a pretty capable backup. He's not much of a hitter, but he plays a true shortstop. No worries, or at least a true third, whichever one we want to put him at. Plus, we've got Khalil Watson, who we've been looking for an avenue to get into the lineup. Those two can kind of maybe take the reins and see if they can turn into something. Boom! Not a day later. In fact, when I'm analyzing the Jose Ramirez deal, when I was going over that one, I then ended up randomly on the pitching screen real quick, and boom, I caught this one right here. Second screeners. I'm clicking on Shane Bieber with the red X and the red name. And I was like, frick on a stick. At this point, the injury had not been announced yet. It was pending. And I'm like, great. As I'm dealing with J-Ram, we got Bieber hurt. Well, here's hoping that it's not too bad. Sim one day, boom. Torn triceps, out 3 months. Basically the end of his season. If we make it to the playoffs and have a run, maybe we can get him back for a playoff round. We'll see. That's so far in the future right now, we can't even begin to really think about it. But that's pretty brutal. Now, what it is going to do is signify the end of Shane Bieber's time with us for now, at least contractually, meaning that we can re-up if we want, but because his third year requires 180 innings, we don't have to do any shenanigans for that. He's just not going to get there. I would have let him pitch 180 if he was good and pitching well, but he's at 47 and he's out for 3 months. He's not getting there. So that's going to clear that last year, and then we can kind of figure out what we want to do with him after the injury. So because we had boom, 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 3 massive injuries to our shortstop, third baseman, and ace, or at least one of our best pitchers. I don't think he's actually our true ace in terms of being our best pitcher, but he's the veteran. You know, sometimes there's a moment in time where the team's ace is no longer the unmitigated best pitcher on the team, and the younger guy is kind of that ace, but he doesn't have as much of a track record, so they still lean on the vet to be like, he's our win day guy still. I think that's the state that Bieber's in right now. Because of his health, he's been up and down with the ball club, but when he's there, he's still very good, and he's still regarded very highly by the club. So losing the 3 of them, I was like, okay, we gotta dive in. We gotta see what's going on and maybe take it a little bit slower here, see if we want to make some moves. So of course, with the hitter injuries, again, I felt like we had backups on the scene in terms of Arias and Watson moving into the lineup. I brought up Dion Frias as well. He's been up for a game, 2 plate appearances, nothing special there. And we still have a spot. We're at 14 right now. We need another guy. I don't think there's anybody on the wire, but let's just check. There may be a pitcher worth getting, but there's only one hitter, Jason Martin here, and we're not picking him up. As far as these pitchers, Okert, whatever. Anthony Maldonado's not bad, but he's just a reliever. Oh, Yoendris Gomez was awesome last year. Picking him up, he was always a good pickup, but he's not terribly inspiring right now. Nah, none of these guys really jump out. They're okay, but I don't think they're clear upgrades for us, so we're not going to look to the waiver wire. So, what I want to do is circle back to what I mentioned earlier about that potential trade, because now I think it's on the table, and we still need to figure out the pitching as well. By the way, if the frame looks different, I am standing. I have a standing desk that I definitely don't use nearly enough, but I've been using it a lot more. I've been trying to do at least an hour to an hour and a half a day standing, just to try to get back into the rhythm of it, and then eventually, hopefully, be doing like half my days standing, and then, you know, if I'm really comfortable with it and can do it, I would stand during the workday and not be so sedentary. So you'll see some videos recorded like that. And if you don't, like let's say come August, you don't see any videos recorded standing up, then I will probably have, you know, moved on from that goal and been a failure. So I really hope that doesn't happen because I really am trying to do that, man. That's the one downside of having a job like this where you work from home and everything's just kind of contained at home. Activity. You just got to get up and do stuff. And I take the dogs for walks when I can, but y'all, I live in Texas. Like the windows, once we hit June, that you would responsibly take a dog out for a walk are narrow. Very early in the morning and then evening, like right before it gets dark, and maybe even in the dark. I don't mind taking the dogs out in the dark, but I prefer to have some light. So it can be a little bit of a difficulty just taking them. That was usually my built-in exercise, at least take the dogs for a walk. But anyway, I'm standing. That's why you might have noticed a different frame there. Anyway, before we get back to that trade, I do want to highlight one thing, because we're not going to get into a big statistical breakdown right now. I usually do that more around the All-Star break, and since that's only like a month of game away, we're going to save it for that. But I do want to highlight one guy, our boy Charlie Condon. He's on fire right now. He's playing some good ball. He's up to a 127 WRC+, 1.3 WAR on the year, 13 bombs. We're loving that 50 games in. Usually, In a given season, most guys don't play a buck 62. The best guys are playing like a buck 50. So you can mentally kind of triple that up and say, oh, now could he be like a 40 homer guy? Maybe. Now, I always talk about dangerous extrapolations. Like, that should never be your expectation. But when a guy has a hot streak for 50 games, if you triple it, you're like, okay, this is what he could be if things are like fully clicking. Like, we know that Condon still has some development. If this development comes in, I do believe he can be this 50-game guy times 3 over a given year. Play 150 games, hit about 40 bombs, drive in over 100, et cetera, et cetera. So I love that. And he was also named May Player of the Year, which was pretty cool. Or, no, Rookie of the Month. Sorry, not Player. Did I say Player of the Year? I meant to say Player of the Month, but it was Rookie of the Month anyway. It wasn't even overall Player of the Month. But it was a great month. His bottom line, I'm saying the word month like 52 billion times in a row. But, yeah, he put up a 124 WRC plus with 7 of those 13 homers. So great month for him. Okay, now, I had a few other notes I was going to get into, but they're irrelevant because I thought it was going to be a little bit of filler at the beginning of the episode, and then I got 712 injuries. Like, I was going to point out that Eduardo Rodriguez won NL Pitcher of the Month in April, which, shouts to the Mets on that because I roasted the crap out of the Mets for picking him up at the price point. It's not that he can't be good this year. It's that they have him for like 12 more years after this. That's the real problem, is that they have 4 more years, ages 34 through 37 at 17 mil. But this year is going well. So I tipped the old cap on that one. I also wanted to bring up like a Heston Kjerstad walk-off grand slam from April 24th, but that's ancient at this point. Who gives a crap? The June development report had some positives, but one of them was for Bieber, who's not even around anymore. His stamina and control went up. Clase stamina went back up to 30, and DeLauder had a power outage, so that was actually a negative piece. So those are just a few things I had on the list that I was going to talk about, but nothing's too important. Now, the trade I keep teasing. If you follow my fantasy baseball work or, listen to my podcast or anything like that, you know that I love Royce Lewis. He's one of my favorite players. I love what he's been doing since getting back from the IL. He has like 9 homers in freaking 12 games or some crap. It's absolutely insane. He's a stud. And he's pretty good in this game too. Now, he's not off the charts, but he's pretty good here, right? 60 power, 55 gap, BABIP, 50 avoid K with 55 potential, and 45 I with 50 potential. He's a captain, high leader, high work ethic, good fielder, can even play a little bit of outfield, although not really center because he only has 55 range. It's more of a corner outfielder as far as I'm concerned. And a good base running profile. Bottom line, good player. 27 years old, just yesterday turned 27 years old. So just turned 27. Under contract too. 4 more years after this. Now it's going to start ramping up in price. 7.2 this year to 12.7 to 16, and then 2 years at 17.6. So I was thinking, well, would they trade him? Well, then I rewound and I said, okay, wait a minute. I got kind of a loose rule about not going after great players off of big-time teams, right? Like, I don't want to just go start pillaging the teams that are contending, especially if they're in our own division. But in this case, they're in a different division, so it's a little bit more open. But then also, if he's their best player, what sense would it make for them to trade him? Okay, so then I look. Okay, he's not their best player. He's an important piece for them, but he's definitely not their best player. They got 4 guys with more WAR than him and a couple others that are very close to him. He's part of a good club. They're 30-25 in Minnesota, but Royce Lewis is not the foundational piece. So I think we could trade for him. Let's make a fair trade and everything. Let's not rip them off. But I certainly think he is tradable. I'm getting trolled by this dog, y'all. She's sitting right here. In fact, Henry's right there, too. He's on the couch, but that's where he often is. And then Char's right here, just trolling me. Like, I'm certain of it, y'all. You guys would think, like, oh, it's just a dog. You're all in your head. You're crazy. She's not purposely trolling you. She doesn't think like that. You've never met Charlotte. She's definitely trolling me. She doesn't want to be in my video. And she bullies me, y'all. She bullies me. Anyway, back to the Royce Lewis deal. I was thinking maybe they would want to trade him to us. And then I was thinking, well, what would they want? So I, of course, immediately do a make this work now. and I see a group of players. Okay, whoa. We got 8 players here. That immediately jumps out to me as interesting. Now, of course, it's some of our very best guys. Franco Alamont, no shot. Emmanuel Clase, I wouldn't say no shot, but I would say probably not, right? I don't think we're going to trade our premier closer. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Condon, that's a non-starter. Jimenez, non-starter. Kerstead, get real. Namgung. Sukyoung Namgung. Old Slugger. Okay, that's interesting. Brian Rocchio, non-starter for me because of my favoritism toward him. Basically, you got switch hitting Royce Lewis for me in terms of an AL Central guy that I'm obsessed with. Now, he's not nearly as good as Royce Lewis. I want to be clear about that. Royce Lewis has legitimate superstar potential, and Brian Rocchio is just a quality player. But I like them both equally. Like that's the kind of fandom I have for Rocchio. But then the other name that stood out was Watson. So Watson and Namgung alone, either of them would do it. So I looked at Slugger here, and I still had a hard time moving on from him. He's 22. We picked him up on a pretty fair deal out of South Korea. We've got him for 3 years at 4.6 and then a player option for 8. He's got some crazy standout skills, 80 gap, 80 avoid K, great speed, strong defense, high work ethic, lots to like here. I want to see this out. I can't do it. But then Watson's a different story, y'all. He's just not clicking yet. Now, he is 23, okay? So I don't even, the word yet, saying that there, not clicking yet, is really unfair. Because he hasn't had any time to click, right? I shouldn't frame it like that. He has 269 career plate appearances spread out over last year and this year. That is nothing. Like, it's a negligible sample, especially when spread out over 2 years, let alone if it was all in one large chunk of time. So I don't want to frame it like that. Let's back that up and not say any of that stuff about hasn't performed yet or is lagging or whatever. No. He's still finding his footing. However, the question for me becomes, do we want to kind of take him through his growing pains here in the majors during a competitive season? Or do we want to get a stronger player right now who maybe over the course of the next 5 years, maybe Watson's ceiling is a little bit higher, but Lewis should be a steady Eddie, really good player. It's not like he's old, even though he's a good bit older than Watson. That's because Watson's very young. Do we sell a little bit of future prospect here for here and now performance? Well, then, when I first saw that they were going to do this, of course, I was like, well, that's curious. And that's when I noticed the contract. Originally, I had not noticed it. And I was like, well, the next thing I'm going to do is see if they'll eat any of that. And it turns out they'll take 55 or 45% of it, y'all. So at that point, we're only paying about half, 55% to be exact, of course. So even at the high end with those 2 years at 17.6 mil, you do a cool math equation on that, that's 9.68 mil per for both of those 2 seasons. And what does that equal? That equals it can't hurt you. It can't. Like, I truly mean that. There is no universe where even if you're the Oakland A's with John Fisher and his penny-pinching ways, a $9 million bust doesn't kill you. It stings more when you have no money. I grant that. But I'm saying even in the scariest scenario, you can survive that. So, of course, us actually having some money, having an owner who is at least open to spending when we're succeeding, 9.7 mil wouldn't hurt even if he flopped 4 years down the road. So I kind of look at this and I'm like, this makes some sense. Now, I will say, it isn't the most logical thing on Minnesota's front. One thing that we could look at is the fact that, maybe they want to start saving some money. They are going to lose a bunch of money next year. It's a bunch of little knick-knack, $1 to $2 million deals, plus Miguel Castro here at 6, and then Nick Castellanos at 20 mil is the big one. But then with some raises, it ends up being about $8 million in savings. Okay, so not a ton. But their core's starting to get older. You got Correa locked up for a while. He's 31. Pablo Lopez, one more year next year. He'll be 31. Kepler, 33. Buxton, 32. Duran, 28, going into one more year of ARB. Joe Ryan, Jonah Heim, both 30. Royce Lewis is the baby at 27, but he's not that young. So you can make a case that, like, yes, this is maybe a little bit short-term negative for a long-term gain to try to stay more competitive and keep the window open and everything. I think there's some sense to it from that standpoint. And yes, I'm trying to create the rosiest outlook so I don't feel like I'm just heisting a team that's competing. I don't think this is completely out of pocket. I cannot think of a great example of it right now, but I will continue to try to think of one where a team traded like a now piece for a now plus future, right? Like they're going to play Watson, because I've pretty much committed to doing this, just so we're clear. Like they're going to put Watson on the team almost for sure. So the idea will be that he'll have to play now and hopefully do well for them, but then also get better as we move forward, and they save this money that they were going to owe to Lewis. So I don't know. It is a little bit dodgy on the sensical part of it with the Twins piece. Fully grant that. I'm okay with that, though, because I don't think it completely upsets the league structure and looks really stupid. I don't believe that to be the case. Now, if you disagree, feel free to put it in the comments. I'm open to it. I will listen. But I think it's more of like maybe we would look askance at it like, what's Minnesota doing on that? But is it impossible for a team that's kind of always balancing the budget and making sure that things don't get too out of hand financially to maybe do something like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. But again, I am judging it from the basis of me desperately wanting Royce Lewis, upset about Jimenez and Ramirez both getting hurt, thinking we need a more bankable piece to turn to right now. Now, we do have literally 5 guys on fire right now, which is awesome. Condon, Kerstead, Bloggs, Rocchio, and Naylor all have the fireball. Arias does have a snowflake, but we got 5 fireballs smothering out that one snowflake. That's amazing. That's really, really great news. But those are hot streaks. They come and they go. And we do have strong offense. We really do. You look it up and down here, we got top 3 rankings all the way down until you get to walks, where we're 9th. And then strikeouts where we're 7th, stolen bases we're 11th, and base running we're 10th. But from batting average down to home runs, we are first, second, or third in all of them, including first in homers. So things are going well offensively. But 2 big legs cut out from under us, one for almost a month, Jimenez, and then another for just over a month in Ramirez, and that's a little bit dodgy. That's a little bit scary for me. So you can make the case that, like, hey, if you're going to do a trade, you should go get another pitcher. That's a fair point. I don't want to. Okay? So I hear your point, but I want to do this. I like this move. Also, I'm probably going to be in the market for a pitcher at some point. But I think right now I like our pitching. I know it's been a bit up and down. You look at the rotation, they've all got ERAs in the low to mid 4s. Actually, Alamon at 487, we'll call that the upper 4s. But, they're all in the 4s. So it's not been great, but it's also not been terrible. I know it ranks, 12th? Is that what it said? Yeah, starters ERAs ranked 12th. I can live with this. I don't think it's in a danger zone situation yet. I just think some of these guys, they're going to be better too as we go forward. Maybe a little wishful thinking. I will grant that. But I look at the core skills. In fact, we can do that. Let's just look at the starters here, and then let's sort by the FIPS. Are they any better? So McKenzie's FIP is a lot better. Brandon Woodruff's is actually worse. Oh, because it's a 2.3 homer 9. Yeah. Oh, actually, look, homers for all 5 guys are really bad. They're all at 1.4 homer 9 or higher. That's actually atrocious, y'all. Why are we such a homer happy pitching staff? That's really bad, because we got 2 guys with excellent strikeout minus walk ratios, McKenzie and Woodruff at 27 and 23% respectively. Cantillo's 15% is solid, which means Elmon's 14% is not that bad if it's only, just over a percentage point lower. And then even Bieber's at 12. Not good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it was a 6% walk rate. It was because he wasn't striking out enough guys to really have a great strikeout minus walk. But he had great results, 4.02 ERA, 109 whip, so he really wasn't the problem. So yeah, I just don't think the pitching's in a dire situation right now. So while that might look like a bigger need, I think we're going to ride out with what we've got. So let's go ahead and put Bieber on the IL. And then let's bring up probably Logan Allen. Xavier Curry's gone down to the minors and said, yo, I'm a star. He's absolutely going crazy. 270 ERA, 094 whip with a 24% strikeout minus walk. Problem is, I don't buy it. I mean, it's good. It's not completely illegitimate, but... And he was doing fine in the majors. 186 ERA and 124 whip in 9 2/3. He was sent out just because we didn't have space. I guess I'll bring him up because he's already on the 25 or 26 man. I meant to say 40 anyway. So I said, third time's a charm on that one. He's already on the 40. So we'll bring him up to the 26. Actually, no, he's not. He had to get waived off of it. That's right. I just now remembered that. Are we full right now? We have 2 spots. Do we give Xavier Curry one of those? Or do we just bring Logan Allen back up, the most talented, and hope that his raw talent can overcome some pretty ugly struggles this year? He's been pretty wretched. Yeah, let's just go off the talent. We're going to bring Logan Allen back up. I just think he's a better pitcher. Now, he's not going to start. We're going to give that spot to Bibee. Oh, I took Raylo out of the rotation. It was not going well. I don't think it's gone well relieving either. It's been better, but only because, like, how could it be worse? 6.28 ERA, 167 whip as a starter, 4.95, 135 as a reliever. So there's just too many walks right now for Raylo. He's got a 50 control. We have the pitch around down here to try to help that. Maybe it's too low. Maybe we'll just not go as extreme on it. And maybe he needs to have a tighter hook. Actually, that's probably a bigger deal. Maybe they're just letting him go too much. And, well, he gave up 3 earned in 2/3 of an inning here, so it probably wasn't that. But maybe this 2/3 of an inning, or 2 1/3 inning. I wonder if that was one where, like, he got pushed too long or something. I don't know. We're not going to investigate the whole thing. We'll just lower his hook a little bit, tighten it up, see what's what. But we're going to put Bibee in the rotation. We're going to move McKenzie up to this spot, put him there. And then, so McKenzie and then Alamon will be available. And then Woody. Okay, yeah, that works. So we'll do that. All right, and then we'll just put Allen here. Now we have 2 lefties back in the bullpen again. Okay, so that's settled. And now we go back to Royce. Just go back to Minnesota. And let's go ahead and do this. I think we're going to do this straight up. I like this move a lot. I think I can go here and get... I'm kind of taking the long route here, but I'm trying to use the old pending trades. There we go. Discuss this. 45% for Khalil Watson. All right. I mean, Mike Chernoff doesn't like it. It would be a mistake to accept this offer. I just don't agree with you, man. And I like Watson. I am rooting for him. I really hope that he does well. I hope it's another win-win deal like the Baltimore one. But I got to be honest, y'all. I am nervous about the 45 avoid K. I really am. I think that can hold him back consistently throughout his career, unless he improves upon it. And he could. He's 23. Like, this is a growth piece. There are reasons to like this. This is a classic, give to get. It stings a little bit, but we're getting Royce. So I'm super giddy about that. But let's go ahead and lock this up and get our boy Royce to 5.9. Bang. Fans love it. Players love it. I think it's the right move for a team that is contending right now, right? Like, our window's open, and we're probably not better than the Orioles, okay? I do freely admit that. They're a juggernaut. But in a 7-game set, we can beat them. We can beat them. It doesn't, it'll take a lot, but in a 7-gamer, the lower talented team can still rise up. Let's bring Tim Herron back up, too. He's just coming off of rehab. Because I saw that we had another spot. Actually, it might have been a hitter, though. Oh, yeah, because we're 13. Are we going to go 13-13? Do I have another hitter I want to bring up? Maybe not. Yeah, I don't know if I do, so we might just ride with this. Let's go Royce at third. Yeah, he's a little bit better over at third. Arias is 65 range. Yeah, he's the true shortstop. Oh, but now we have Dion Frias backing up like everywhere. Maybe that's a little too aggro. Actually, we'll just have him at second and short, and then we'll put Bo Naylor backing up third. Because we've been trying to find some ways to get him in a little bit more. His bat's actually cooking this year, 140 WRC plus, so that's great. Still strikes out a ton at 30%, but doing damage when he does connect. So 50, he can be up to a 50 over at third base. So I think we can fit him in a little bit more there. But then let's get Royce in. Frias, switch hitter who is a tinge better against lefties with a 55 avoid K. That's really the only difference, so it's whatever. You know what? All right, I'll let Frias start against lefties. We'll see how that goes. I don't know what to make of him, but we'll give him some burn there against southpaws. Arias can mix in. He can mix in over at third even. Let's just say every third game. All right. I might go 13-13 for a short period here, and then we'll reassess. How high do we get Lewis up the order? He's going to do his best work against lefties. But he doesn't have a crazy split, at least statistically. I think we'll bat him seventh, which seems crazy. But, Rocchio's having another great year. Condon's on fire. Oh, wait, no. Arias here leading off. No. I forgot about that. Because he went into him in as his spot. Now, we'll lead off Lewis. He doesn't walk as much as I would normally want from a leadoff guy by any stretch at 45. But he doesn't strike out too much, and he can hit. As I'm saying it, I don't like it. I'm balking on that. You know what? No, Rocchio I would lead off against lefties. White strikes out way too much. It's just a leadoff strikeout like damn near every game, I would imagine. I'm going to throw Condon in the leadoff. Rocchio 2, Lewis 3, Kerstead 4, Blogs 5, Stauer 6, White 7, Arias 8, and Bailey 9. That's what we'll go with right now. All right, and then for a potential call-up, if we go back to 14-12, which I think we're going to, I wonder if it's time to see what's up with Namgung. He's on fire. He's been killing it down in the minors, 132 WRC+. plus. Do we have real burn for him, though? I think we really need an infielder. Oh, my God, look at how many outfielders we have in AAA. Oh, that's so bad. I have to rework that balance. I'm going to do that after this episode. We're not going to go too far. I think we're going to play about a week of game time, and then we'll bounce here. Because like I said, this wasn't even planned to be this episode. I was going to get us to the draft, but I had to check in with the potential Royce Lewis move and the huge injuries. I was just like, let's dive in right now and see what's what. All right, you know what? We'll go 13-13 for a little here. See if things stabilize. Give the starters an extra arm in the bullpen so maybe they can chill out a little bit since they've been having some issues. And we'll see what's going on. Oh, he doesn't need to be pushed. I don't know when I did that on his starter. I think I did do that because I definitely did these ones with the infield shifts. But I don't know why I would have pushed his hook with a 35 stamina. So that's my fault on that one with Almon. All right, let's see what's going on here, and we'll get a little bit into June. We won the first game in Philly. We got 2 more, and then 3 in Toronto. I'll probably take you through the Detroit series here. We'll just get a couple series, call it, and then jump back in July because that's obviously a huge month with the draft and the deadline. All right, so we lose the second game 2-1 after a 14-5 win. Now we're trying to get the series here after a save, and boom, 7-5 win in 10. We love to see it. B. Woody's like, yo, I want to keep playing here. I'm hot for Cleveland. Oh, my man, I cannot give you a 6-year deal at $17 million per. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? That's insane. Oh, shit, there was a Donnybrook. Oh, baby, there was a Donnybrook. Watch out now. Aaron Bracco, former prospect of ours, I believe. Yep, former prospect. Having a crazy season over at AAA. I mean, he's been a minor league stud. He's only 25, so it's not like he's been wallowing in the minors forever, but I'm surprised no team is giving him a chance here. This was, is that Richmond? Oh, that's Rocket City. That's right, Salt Lake. So has this been the Angels the whole time? Is that where we traded him to? No, we traded him to the Giants in the Lamont Wade deal. And then the Giants traded him to the Angels. Okay. Well, I'm surprised that neither of those teams, the Giants nor the Angels, has saw fit to give him a shot. But whatever. Are they doing well? Either of them? The Angels stink, and the Giants are mediocre. So whatever. Their loss, I guess. All right, trip to Toronto now. We win the first game 9-7. Second game 9-7 again. Third game 3-1. Boom. Get the sweep there. Take the off day. Got some emails. Let's check in with them. Vlad Jr. with a 4-homer game. Let's go. I love it. I like to see that he's popping off in our sim. I hope he starts doing better in real life. He's not bad. It's not his fault the Jays suck, but he wears a lot of it. And I don't think that that's terribly fair, but that's a discussion for another time. All right, we've got the Tigers now, and what are they up to these days? Tigers are 32-29. They're 8.5 back. They're on a lose 7, so they were playing really well until they lost 7 straight. Yikes. They were 32-22. It's crazy what one bad week can do to you. But they're still very much in the mix. They're still a team to take seriously. Torque has 22 bombs already. Colt Keith rules. Jackson Jobe is headlining the rotation with Ty Madden, Nick Lodolo, Reese Olson, and Keeter Montero behind him. All right, let's see what we got here, and we'll wrap up the episode, hopefully with no fanfare, just a series win, ideally. We lose 5-3, but then we win 6-5. Can we take the rubber match? Come on. Give me the win. Give me the series and a save. What do you say now? One time. Even the saves are faster. I mentioned how the day-to-day games sim faster, but I think even the save days are quicker. We do lose 8-2. So we drop one to them. We were riding hot. They were riding like shit. So, of course, we drop one to them. That's a bummer. But we'll live. All right, so here we are. It's June 15th, about a month away from the draft, which is on the 11th. We are 41-22. A game and a half clear of the Red Sox, and still behind the Dodgers, and now almost essentially tied with the Cubs for the second best record in baseball. They're 41-23, we're 41-22, so we're technically a smidge better. All right, let's see how our new guy's doing. Royce, what you up to, bud? Royce, 16 WRC plus. Bust of a trade. I freaking knew it, dude. I knew I shouldn't have done that. Watson, 102 WRC plus. Screwed the whole season. Watson rules. Lewis sucks. Knew it. Freaking knew it. No, I'm obviously joking. It's not even a funny joke. I'm not worried about it at all. We're going to be good. By the way, another check-in on Jack Neely. Remember, Rule 5 pickup from the Yankees was on the chopping block in spring. We were like, his numbers are absolutely wretched, but decided to make some cuts around him and say, let's try to stick with the ratings here. Let's not get caught up on the spring stats. And he's been great. 3.14 ERA, 1.12 whip in 43 innings. Ooh, Dari Moreta. He's pretty good. He actually looks a lot like Jack Neely, to be honest. We don't need another reliever, though. That's the thing. You get to a certain point a couple years into your sim, if you're picking up relievers and cultivating them within your system, that the wire continues to throw out like alluring guys, but they're not usually enough to make an upgrade. And I mean, we could probably take Moreta as an upgrade over Arias, for example, but Arias is a homegrown lefty, and I'd rather just keep him around as depth right now. Beyond that, like, I don't know, is he better than Bradish? Maybe on a per inning basis, but Bradish can also start, so we wouldn't take him over that. I don't want to send Cade Smith back down just to get Moreta, so you get it. It's just not the right move. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and cap it there. A little bit of a quicker episode, unfortunately with some bad news, but I think we're going to be okay. check in on the injuries here. Still, obviously, Bieber cooked for a very long time, but Ramirez, 5 more weeks. Jimenez, 2 more days. So he's going to go down. He'll do a rehab assignment and then be back up. He'll take Frias' spot, or if Frias is doing well, then he'll take Cade Smith or Tim Herron's spot. I'll send one of the pitchers out and then and then go back to 14-12. But we'll figure that out. By the time that he comes back up, Jimenez will have picked it up well within that, unless terror strikes again. But hopefully not. I'll probably go through the draft because I don't know if I'll do a separate draft episode, TBD on that. I might just do a draft recap episode, depending on how it goes with everything. But anyway, talk to y'all later. Peace.